Hi, everybody. So I'm coming to talk to you about the California Dream for All program 2026. So for some of you who are familiar with the program, this was a very successful down payment assistance program that CalHFA, the California Housing Finance Authority, issued in 2025. Lots of people got 20% down payment, and some people qualified on the second and third round. We were able to help a lot of buyers. Well, the 2026 version is about to kick off. They're actually going to open the submission process February 24, 2026. So in just a few days. But before you can actually submit your application, you have to be pre-qualified. So we're going to spend a few minutes to break down what is the program, how it works, and why you should get qualified. So check this out. The first thing you need to know is that this program is called the California Dream for All program. It's an equity appreciation program that gives buyers 20% for closing costs or down payment up to $125,000. Think about it. So it's 20%. You can use it all for down payment, or you can use 15 and 5 or 18 and 2 for closing costs. So if you use it for part of down payment, part of closing costs, you don't have to bring any money down. That's how we were able to help some of the people in 2025. And it is a equity appreciation program because you don't make payments. It's a silent mortgage. But at some point when you sell the property, you will have to pay back the money you owe, plus a small portion of the appreciation. And it's better than paying interest, but you do give up some of your equity. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, why do I want to do that? Well, because they're basically bankrolling you for 20%. You can start building a lot of equity right now. You don't have to pay it back. In fact, you don't pay any interest on it. So when you sell the house, then you can pay back that equity and that loan that they gave you, right? So it makes a ton of sense. Now, let's talk about how the equity appreciation is calculated. There's a special formula. Every person, depending on their income, is going to be a little different. So we're not going to get into the nickel and dime of that. You just need to understand that you're not making payments on the 20% that they give you until you actually sell the house or eventually refinance it. Now, what are some of the requirements? First of all, you will need to qualify for a loan, but there are two requirements that are very important. Let's break them down. The first one is everybody on the loan needs to be a first-time buyer. That means somebody that hasn't owned a home in 3 years. So if you are going to be buying a home with your spouse, you both have to be first-time buyers. If it's you and your spouse and your sister, all three of you need to be first-time buyers. The second requirement, it's a little tougher. And one of the buyers has to be a first-generation home buyer. Not all of them. So what does a first-generation home buyer mean? It means that your parents do not currently own a home in the United States. So if your parents are deceased, you qualify. If they never own a home here in the United States, they qualify, right? Now, not everybody has to do that, just one of the buyers. So if you are buying a home with your spouse and your parents own a house and his or her parents also own a house, currently you're not going to be able to qualify. And they do investigate that. So that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. But if you are a first generation home buyer, or your spouse is, you're going to be fine. So those are the two main things. Now we're going to talk a little bit about, the fact that, of course, we already said no payments. But, aside from being a first-time buyer and a first-generation home buyer, you do need to qualify, right? You need to have credit scores. They don't have to be perfect, but you do have to have some credit scores. You have to have income, proof of income. You have to have employment and a history of employment. You still have to qualify like a regular mortgage. But one of the advantages is because they're giving you a 20% down payment, you can qualify for more money, right? So like if you were looking at buying a home with FHA, 3.5%, but now you get this voucher, you're going to qualify for more house, lower payment, no mortgage insurance in most cases. So what to do next? Well, a lot of people think, you're never going to get approved. Let me tell you, we got approved a lot of people last year. They're going to do a lottery. The first step, pay close attention, is you've got to get pre-qualified with me. You have to have a qualification letter that I'm going to issue prior to the 24th of February. Because on the 24th of February, for a couple of weeks, they're going to open the portal so you can submit your application. And then once you submit your application, they're going to have a lottery. If you get a voucher, then you have time to buy a house. If you do not get the voucher on the first round, later in the summer and later in the fall, whoever didn't buy a home on the first round, let's say you got a voucher, you couldn't find a home, or you decide not to buy a home, that money becomes available for someone else. So we were qualifying people that didn't get the voucher in March, didn't get it in August, they got it in October. They still were able to buy a house. They thought, well, we're never gonna get the voucher, and they did. So they got into a house. So it is important that you give this a try. The first step is to reach out to me so I can get you qualified. I want you to call my office, 760-488-6482, or email right here, enrique@firstwestfinancial.com, and tell me that you want to get qualified for the California Dream for All. We'll send you the qualification link, you fill it out, and then from that point forward, we will get you approved. And then on February 24th, we can submit your pre-qualification package to get you started. I hope this information was useful to you. Get a chance to understand more about the program. Call me if you have questions. This is a great program. The money is real. It's going to be available, and it's happening. Have a great day.